Interior. Key cues here are let the chest drop and then push the chest away. You want to keep the neck nice and long to avoid rounding the thoracic spine. Push-ups. The key cues here are to lead with the chest. Let the shoulder blades come together at the bottom and then push away at the top. The key mistakes that most people make are protruding their chin. We tell people to lead with their chest as they go down to prevent this. You want to keep the body in a nice straight line. T push-ups. We're going to go down to a push-up and then we're going to rotate in the transverse plane. The core is engaged here to lock the rib cage to the hips. Feet are going to rotate and we're going to turn the body as one unit, alternating sides right after each push-up. There's a nice external rotation component here on the shoulder of the arm that is on the ground as well. It's a nice little scapular stability move. Want to make sure that that shoulder does not creep up towards the ear as we externally rotate on it.
We have our TRX Push Up. Getting handles set up, firm grip on the handles, shoulder blades directly over the hands. And just like our normal push-up cues, everything's in a straight line from ear, shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle, with a very strong grip to facilitate rotator cuff activation. Notice that we're not going too far. We walk it up a little bit to regress the move and make it a little bit easier so we can finish that set, which is very typical of a TRX exercise. We have our single leg version here, which again just adds a little bit more core involvement and balance involvement in here. Push-up is the same, elbows slightly tucked into the body for safety of the shoulder, not going into too much humeral extension.
Swiss ball push-ups with hands on the ball. Same principles apply here as any other push-up. We're going to lead with the chest, keep the body in a nice straight line. The Swiss ball in this case increases the demands on the rotator cuff to stabilize. It's also an exercise that demands a little bit greater core stabilization response here as well. Swiss ball push-ups with feet elevated on the Swiss ball. Shown as a way to get into position for a prone jackknife or for Swiss ball push-ups with the feet on the ball. This increases the loading on the upper body with the feet elevated. Very challenging exercise here. And it's also another anti-extension exercise. We're trying not to let that low back slip into extension here.
Here we have our double medicine ball push-up. Straightforward push-up here. We just have the medicine balls here. It's going to challenge the stability of the scapula and allows for a really full range of motion here. Notice that we're tucking the elbows into the side a little bit, but I'm not really trying to get the chest too far in there. We don't want too much extension. And then we just switch to a single arm. So again, now we're really getting that core involved and really changing the angle of attack here on the arms here. So we'll call this a single medicine ball push-up, and then of course we just rotate to the other side. So this challenges the core quite a bit more, trying to keep the hips stable, trying to keep that back nice and stable. Now we just have an alternating rolling it back and forth here. So now we just have what we call an alternating single medicine ball push-up here.
Double arm cable push. We're going to walk the handles out with the handles right next to the shoulder so we don't hyperextend the shoulder. Assume a split stance. I'd like to see Amy have a little bit longer stance here. We're going to engage the core, stand nice and tall, and push both hands at the same time as if doing a punch in a bench pressing motion. This heavily involves the serratus anterior musculature since the scapula are not restricted. Dumbbell bench press. We're going to kick the dumbbells into position here, pull the shoulder blades down and back, and then press straight up. I'm going to keep the chest out and move the dumbbells in two straight lines here. Nice thing about the dumbbells is you can find a nice comfortable position for the wrists, elbows, and shoulders to operate in. Next version is a neutral grip bench press where the hands are facing each other, the palms are facing each other, which opens up a little more space for the rotator cuff to breathe. Then we're going to move into an alternating dumbbell bench press where we're getting some nice scapular stability on the dumbbell that is suspended up in the air. And we can transition that into a seesaw dumbbell bench press where one dumbbell is coming down while the other one's coming up. Also a little more core stability required on these last two variations. Dumbbell incline bench press. We're going to kick the dumbbells into position and press the dumbbells in two straight lines relative to gravity here. Amy's actually pushing the dumbbells a little too far in front. We can also use an alternating version as we did in the flat bench. We can use a seesaw version, and the neutral grip version can be used here as well. It's real easy to retract and depress the shoulder blades in incline variations. Incline dumbbell bench on the half or matrix bench. We remove the seat here, which makes you extend the hips and also increases the demand on the core here to stabilize, rather than using the Swiss ball, which has too much injury potential. Dumbbell bench press on the half bench or matrix bench. This requires us to extend the hips and also requires more core stability here, since all of our body is not supported by a bench, just the shoulders and head are supported. Dumbbell floor press. We're going to place the dumbbells on the lap, kick them into position, and then press the dumbbells just as we would on a regular dumbbell bench press. The key thing to note here is that the amount of extension the shoulders can go through is limited by the floor. This makes it a good choice for those coming back from shoulder injuries. Barbell bench press. The barbell bench press is a lot more complicated than simply laying on your back and grabbing the bar and pushing. The key component that we try and get our clients to learn is to teach them how to retract and depress their shoulder blades, which is quite simply learning to squeeze their shoulder blades together as if they're holding a pencil between them and pulling their shoulder blades away from their ears and towards their feet. This keeps the shoulders nice and healthy when performing bench presses. We like them to take a grip that's somewhere around 1.5 times biacromial width and then adjust in or out from there. We like the feet planted solidly, and as the eccentric begins, we cue them to lift their chest to the bar, thinking of pulling the bar towards their body, which helps to pre-stretch and pre-tense all the musculature involved. The barbell is pressed in a fairly straight line. We want to see the elbows tucked slightly and not flared out towards the shoulders. Close grip bench press. This variation puts a little bit more stress on the triceps musculature. We want the hands to be closer than they are on a regular bench press, but not too close where we start to develop some wrist and elbow problems. Typically about 14 to 16 inches apart, measured from the index fingers, works pretty well for most folks.